What if everything you've been told is wrong? What if science and faith aren't enemies at all? What if the conflict we keep hearing about doesn't actually exist the way we think it does? Because for centuries, some of the greatest scientific minds in history were also people of deep faith. So the real question isn't just, can science and faith coexist? It's, have we misunderstood both? Welcome back to Sacred Questions, a place where we explore the hardest questions about God, faith, and truth with honesty and curiosity. On one side, you'll hear that science explains everything and makes God unnecessary. Can science and faith coexist? Let's start with the most common assumption, that science and faith are fundamentally opposed. This idea often comes from the belief that science is based on evidence, observation, and proof, while faith is based on belief without evidence. From this perspective, science asks, what can we measure? Faith asks, what do we trust? And those questions seem incompatible. For example, when science explains the origins of the universe through the Big Bang, some people feel that leaves no room for God. When biology explains evolution, some see it as contradicting the idea of divine creation. So, the conclusion becomes simple. If science explains the how, then maybe we don't need God at all. But is that really the full picture? Here's where things get interesting. That's a very different mindset. Science is incredibly powerful, but it's limited to the natural world. It can tell us how stars form, how cells function, how gravity works. But science doesn't ask or answer questions like, why is there something rather than nothing? What is the purpose of life? Why do we experience beauty, love, or moral conviction? These are not scientific questions. They're philosophical and spiritual ones. In other words, science explains mechanisms. Faith explores meaning. And those two don't have to compete. They might actually complement each other. It's also worth remembering